just one of those things I wanted to get back out here at some point. I didn't know if it was going to be Oregon or some other school or something like that, but I wanted to be back on the West Coast at some point in the Pac-12 specifically.
What has been the biggest adjustment? You've done it before, you did in the time of your career, but college football changes a lot in 3 or 4 years. So what was it big?
Oh yeah, it's changed significantly. I mean, the biggest thing has been just recruiting with the NIL and the portal and all those different things like that. It's forever changing every single day. So just staying on top of it. You've got to recruit your own guys that are already in the program as well as other guys. And so that was an adjustment initially. I mean, it's not something that is really difficult. It's just something you just have to adjust to and just be cognizant of.
What did you learn from the Steelers that you were able, or did you learn some things from them you're able to apply here now?
It's just a growth process. It doesn't matter if I went to another collegiate team or NFL team. You just grow in different ways. I used to be in spread offense throughout my time in the college ranks, and then going into the NFL. We run more pro style type deals, right? And they're coming back. Those are things that kind of integrated with what Kenny Dillingham does, and find a way to integrate those things so we can have success and kind of throw defenses off. And it's been a pretty smooth transition. The great thing about Kenny is Coach Dillingham is they just really open the change, and he's very familiar with a number of things. Again, even if he hasn't run it before, he has a great understanding of the game as a whole, including the offensive line, so he's able to tie things together. So that's made the transition fairly easy.
Unlike had some familiarity with Oregon being in the league before, but now that you're in this building and representing this school, has you seen something that you maybe didn't know about, or your feelings changed because of that?
My feelings have changed in regards to
just like the expectations of the atmosphere here or the facilities.
The only time I was surprised is when we actually came here and played. UCLA, we came and played. I think we're both in the top 10. I think Mariota was here at the time, and we ended up on the wrong side of it that day. But I remember looking at the capacity of the stadium and not realizing just how loud it was when I got here. We had to work on silent count. I didn't know if we'd have to use it, but it was the loudest stadium that we played in our conference in my 5 years in the Pac-12. Just the amount of the affinity for the program in terms of community, not just over here, but even if I fly into Portland and coming down, just it carries throughout the state. It's pretty remarkable. I think this is one of the few places in our conference that has actual college game day experience, which I feel like if you get a kid up here on a visit, you can get a kid, not just because of the facilities, but because of everything as a whole, the community and all that. It's a true college town.
The past couple seasons, Oregon's been known as a very run-heavy offense, and Coach Dillingham's talking about high-tempo, pro-style. How does that impact the approach with the O-line, if at all?
Well, we're ready to do both. Obviously as an offensive line coach, I love to run the ball, but I think we're going to be fairly balanced. And when he says we're going to be up-tempo, it's not up-tempo every single play. We're going to play with a sense of urgency, but it's not like we're just running up to the line. I think we'll change it up. Change it up periodically throughout the game to keep the defense on their toes. But it's something that we keep in our back pocket too, that if we could run the ball down somebody's throat, then we're going to do that.
This program the last couple of years have rotated a lot of guys. I understand you weren't the coach here for that, but just what's your philosophy of just the amount of rotations and how frequently you use it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything's wrong with that. That's not what I like to do. I like my preference is to develop some form of continuity amongst the group. I think it's better that way if guys can play together, that they get a better feel for one another. And when the running back is in the backfield, if he's following the same guys on combinations throughout the week, he knows how to set it up. And all of a sudden it trickles to them as well. And pass protection, guys set different ways. You can coach it all you want, but guys, they do certain things. Some people are struggling with certain things. The guy may cut the edge on the right, on the other side they may be a little firmer. So the quarterback has a little better pocket presence because there is a continuity, because he gets a better feel for it. You're changing one guy, maybe things change up a little bit, but it's not significant enough that it changes everything. Whereas if you have guys, in my experience, if you have guys coming in and out, there's a lot of uncertainty for other positions, and then there's a lack of continuity within the group. But you need to have position flexibility. And that's something we're working on right now. We don't have any definitive starters. We just have guys that we're moving around a little bit, getting a feel for them. Especially for me, there's a couple guys I'm aware of because they were guys that were potential draft picks. But I want to see how guys work in combinations, and just then we'll go from there.
Just gonna say, what your impressions of this offensive line? It's probably one of the more experienced units in all of college football, with a lot of guys using that extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, that's a great thing. There's a foundation to build off of. The one thing they did a really nice job of is getting guys with good character. Like in our room, we have a lot of guys that are good character, they're a tight-knit group. And anytime you have that, then you can focus on just football. So we've been able to focus on that. There's some things that I teach and some things I want to implement that are kind of almost polar opposite of what they've been doing. So that's been a process, and just drilling that out. But there come a time, and just we're getting better each day, Hopefully be ready, week one and have it the way I want it to be. But the guys are more than willing to do it, and they're working their tails off to get there.
What's that fight like for Jackson Powers Johnson with these offense, defenses?
Well, I lost that one initially, so hopefully he gives it to me in the end. I didn't want to give him up. I watched it just like a fan. My youngest son, this is his favorite school. Even when I was at UCLA, one day I made him come in the locker room with no shirt on because he had the nerve to wear a damn Oregon shirt to a UCLA game. But it's like something I'm familiar with because he watches the games, so I watch it with him. But I saw the bowl game, and I saw maybe 2 or 3 games during the season. So obviously bowl game, he played on the other side of the ball. I think he's a good player. He has a great competitive spirit, and that goes a long way. And he's a physical player. I like him having him on that side of the ball, but that's ultimately up to coach. You need to be a good player for us on either side of it, and we both need him. So.
After having an experience at the college level and then most recently in the NFL, what are some of the differences you've noticed between college and pro offensive linemen? Are there maybe some areas that college guys tend to need a little bit more work at?
Yeah, you notice when you're going in the NFL, guys coming in, but that's not something new. That was even when I was in college the first time. They're not as technically sound, and I think that's because of what guys are doing schematically as offensive coordinators. People aren't being taught to fit combinations and how to displace defenders and different things like that because it's not needed. Everything is laterally, and that's one of the things that I'm saying is the polar opposite of maybe what they're doing before. A lot of things only just fit into line scrimmage to be a little more physical at the point and all that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong or right. It's just a different style and different mentality. I like to impose our will on people and not kind of. I want to be the reason why we're breaking for 20 yards and not be just covering up and letting those guys do all the work. So I like to get to the point where we can put the team on our back and we can carry games out. And if we're running and having a nice day and we're averaging a good amount and we can make move the ball, and maybe we hit 30 runs in a game. And they're everywhere, outside, inside, get big men running in space and all that. So I just think there's been a lack of not here in particular, but just in college football as a whole. We've seen over the last decade there's been a real lack of technique and physicality getting up. The focus has been more primarily on getting athletes and guys that can move laterally on that. So when they get up at that level, you have to be a grown-ass man, move guys off the point. And a lot of guys aren't capable of doing that. So you have to change the game at that level to kind of mimic this a little bit until you get to that point. And those teams that are able to play like that are able to physically dominate other teams. You can tell the teams that put the focus on those type of linemen and those that don't.